All right, so Julius Caesar has just wrapped up his campaign in Syria, and back in Judea, there's a bit of a power vacuum. This is where a guy named Antipater, who Caesar put in charge, comes back onto the scene. And let me tell you, he's not just there to keep the seat warm. He returns with a mission to build a brand new Roman-backed order and completely reshape the nation's future.
So Antipater's first move, it's not subtle, it's not diplomatic, it's just brutally direct. He gets everyone together and basically lays it all out. There's no room to argue. It's a raw, undisguised threat. Look, you can support our weak, Roman-approved King Hyrcanus and have peace, or you can resist and you'll find out what real tyranny looks like. This is pure, unadulterated power politics, plain and simple.
You see, Antipater was a brilliant strategist. He looked at King Hyrcanus and saw him for exactly what he was, a figurehead, what Josephus calls an unactive ruler. He wasn't a real force. So instead of trying to prop up the king's authority, Antipater starts building his own, laying the groundwork for a dynasty that is going to change Judea forever.
And how does he do this? Well, he puts his own kids in charge. He gives his older son Phasaelus the capital, Jerusalem, the stable center of power. But his younger son, Herod, who is described as being very young but full of an active spirit, gets sent to the restless, turbulent region of Galilee. Now, this wasn't some lesser job. Think of it as a crucible, a proving ground, designed specifically for a man of action.
And for an ambitious young guy like Herod, Galilee was the perfect stage. As Josephus puts it, as an active man, he soon found proper materials for his active spirit to work upon. Yeah, he wasn't going to have to wait long at all to make a name for himself.
The whole region was in total chaos, and a lot of that was down to this one man, Hezekiah. Now, he wasn't just some petty thief. He was the head of the robbers, leading a big crew that was running roughshod over the countryside and even into parts of Syria. He was the very symbol of the disorder that Antipater and the Romans were there to crush.
So what does Herod do? Does he negotiate? Try to cut a deal? Nope. His response is immediate and absolutely ruthless. His very first act as governor is to hunt down Hezekiah and his entire band of robbers and execute them. Just like that. He establishes his authority not with laws or speeches, but with the sword.
And what was the reaction to this brutal display of efficiency? You might think fear, right? Wrong. It was celebration. The people, especially the Syrians who had been suffering from all the raids, were thrilled. They hailed Herod as a hero who brought quietness and security. They were literally singing hymns in his honor.
This single, violent act, this was the forge where Herod's career was truly born. It wasn't just about killing a bandit. It was about creating a reputation, an image of strength and decisiveness that would have huge and lasting consequences.
The ripple effects were immediate. He calmed the region down and won over the people. But the most critical part? He put himself on Rome's radar. Sextus Caesar, the Roman president of Syria and a relative of Julius Caesar, now knew exactly who Herod was. By solving a Roman problem, Herod had just tied his own future to the biggest power in the world.
And through his son's glorious, and let's be honest, brutal actions, Antipater's master plan came together perfectly. Josephus tells us that the entire family started getting the kind of honors and respect that were usually only for kings. The actual king, Hyrcanus, was king in name only. Everyone knew who was really running the show now, the House of Antipater.
So, this is it. This is the origin story of the man who would become Herod the Great. It didn't start with a crown or an inheritance. It started with a calculated act of violence that brought him fame, power, and the all-important favor of Rome. And it leaves us with a question that echoes through history. When order is born from violence, is the peace that follows a triumph, or is it a warning?